Getting it to go live. Yeah, it is live. You can hear me properly, right? Just double check.
Yep.
Good. Let me try and wait for the YouTube to turn on. Getting it to go live. Yeah, it is live. Okay. Okay, we are live.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another session of Business Chit Chat.
Yeah, I call it BizTalk. Anyway, we'll deal with the brand name later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what shall we chat today? I think the headline story, for at least for today, okay, I don't know about the whole week, but I think at least for today is the Terra Luna crypto crash.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to crypto all this while, so I only took notice when I saw a sea of red in my stock app. Then okay lah, yeah.
So just
apparently a lot of people got caught.
Yeah, so it wiped out the 2021 one whole year of gains. Only 2021, there's a tremendous interest in cryptocurrency. Therefore, everybody do the buy-in.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with the war, with everything crashing, yeah, so even cryptocurrency went a nosedive. Which interesting because I was looking at cryptocurrency the last 1 year,
Yeah.
in fact, one and a half year. It's supposed to circumvent central bank. Okay, that was the whole entire intention of cryptocurrency. Okay, is to actually avoid all this nitty-gritty procedure checks and and to create a certain currency market outside the central bank, our usual flat currency market. However, because of the war, apparently things don't turn out the way it's supposed to turn out. Okay, which was quite surprising because it's supposed to act as a sort of what I call it. I mean, it circumvent the usual route of money, you see. So it's interesting. This thing took a different turn, and right now it crashes. I think 97% of the value being wiped out from the market. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's something you can see a mile. You can see it coming from a mile away, lah. I'm the kind of, I am more in the camp of Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, in the sense that from a position perspective, from an ideology perspective, I don't think cryptocurrency makes sense. Yeah. I think, to put it bluntly, and again, our this conversation has never been afraid of controversy and foul language. But I'll just say it this way: this whole idea, or this whole vision of cryptocurrency replacing fiat currency, right, is some idiot's wet dream, and that is trying to sell to the world, there is a fake promise. It is a false positive. It will never happen. So I don't understand why a lot of people buy into this idea of maybe a lot of people are caught up with false promises of freedom, and liberty, and then they just like to believe in things that are unreal, things that are unrealistic, unpragmatic, simply because it gives them some false hope that they can be less bounded by the regulations or controls of the government or society. Right? I think it's total bullshit. Because why I said it, I mean, it's very simple. When because right, currency in its most fundamental concept, right, can only work if there is a centralized regulatory body. That's the whole concept of money.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So the moment when you take away a fiat system, you have to replace it with a system that can regulate and control the flow of money. You need an impartial arbiter to control and manage the flow of money. So when you say you want to decentralize from it, right, it's just nonsensical.
Well, actually, right from the beginning, before fiat currency was implemented, barter trade was the original idea of monetary exchange. I mean, in terms of monetary exchange, it's not our.
But you think about it, if barter trade is that efficient, right? Why on earth do we invent money?
Yes, correct. And that is where cryptocurrency want to establish a central valuation system, okay, whereby it's highly based on how much you want to charge for your product and services, and how much decided the other party want to buy, and based on that the fluctuating valuation of the currency, exchanges can be occurred. Just like US dollar, if I trade US dollar today, my one USD can buy 1.3 of Sing dollar. So maybe my phone worth 1,003 Sing dollar, I can use 1,000 USD to buy. Okay, no, and if tomorrow the one USD can buy 1,005, 1 USD can buy 1.5 Sing dollar, right? Then I have to top up. I have to top up another $200 for my buyer to actually pay me $1,000. Okay, so that is where the original intention of cryptocurrency was not wrong. Okay, they want to create a studio. It's an alternative system. However, I think the instability of the valuation create a very big hoo-ha.
No, but Stephen, you just pointed out. You just argued the flaws of cryptocurrency, right, using fiat concept. When you talk about a phone and the dollar and all these things, right, you are using the fiat concept, right, to illustrate, which means to say, for better or worse, whether you like it or not, the reality is, right, for cryptocurrency to stabilize, right, it needs to be pegged to the fiat system. So all those idiots who talk about, decentralized finance, right, is just bullshitting themselves, because you can't get out of a fiat-like system. Because it is only a regulated environment, only a regulated ecosystem like a fiat system, right, can stabilize the fluctuation of cryptocurrency. The only reason why cryptocurrency fluctuates, right, is simply because they are not pegged to any fiat currency. I mean,
it's not just that. It's not pegged to anything.
Yeah, it's not pegged to anything. So I don't even finish my economics in college, and I know this. I mean, all these idiots are just, nonsensical. It to me crypto doesn't make sense.
Yeah, in fact, crypto to me as well. Okay, at this moment, I also don't make a lot of sense. Okay, on the cryptocurrency, because
it will never make sense. I'm going all out and say, right, it will never make sense, simply because the only way cryptocurrency can stabilize, right, is to sleep with the very enemy it is proclaiming to be, which is the fiat system. So if you want to have a stable coin, right, the only way a stable coin will happen is, for example, USDT is pegged to the US dollar, or Singapore come up with SGBT, it's pegged to the Singapore dollar, which is way again a basket of currency, which is pegged within the fiat system, then it will stabilize because there is a quantifiable exchange to something real. Outside that pegging, right, is rubbish. It's rubbish.
Yeah, I think all of us agree that there must be a stabilized system, a centralized system whereby it able to stabilize valuation of the means of exchange, yeah, which is at this moment current flat currency. So that's why when people tell me about this cryptocurrency, it's going to replace the world, I mean, in terms of the fiat currency system, I kept my comments. So I think times have proven us right, okay, whereby things are so unstable to the point that now, just within 24 hours, the Terra Luna crypto fell 97%, which is ridiculous because in any system, okay, this should not happen because the fall should not be so drastic. 97% in 24 hours. It's as though you tell me that, okay, one USD suddenly become only 10 cents USD, and whatever I pack on is, or whatever value or of currency that I pack this USD go down the drain, which it make things very vulnerable, you know. I mean, yeah, the whole entire world economy is so vulnerable. So I think most of us, okay, we still belong to the old camp whereby, okay, cryptocurrency have no much of pegging, no much of stabilization, and I think probably at this junction, okay, things have proven right, okay, to us.
I think at the end of the day, right, I'm more judgmental and critical of people who are hypocritical about the value or promise of cryptocurrency. You know, if you invest in cryptocurrency simply because of speculation and you want to make a quick buck, right, that's perfectly fine. In fact, I think that's probably the only valid reason for getting into cryptocurrency because of its wildly speculative nature, right? There is obviously profit arbitrage you can take advantage of. And that's perfectly fine as a money-making approach. You know, some people do not like it, but if you have the funds, if you have the guts and the stomach to, you know, withstand all these wild swings, then go for it because it does allow opportunities to let you, you know, create a lot of money, create a lot of wealth in a very short period of time. Perfectly fine. But just be upfront about it. I really don't like and I'm really very dismissive of people, right, who are in crypto for the speculative nature, right, and yet they want to bring out the whole Wi-Fi, decentralized ideology BS just to justify why they are investing in crypto. I mean, you can simply just say you're just in it to make a quick buck. Perfectly fine, you know. I mean, you want to be a trader, perfectly fine.
Yeah. Of course, I think cryptocurrency have presented itself as a arbitrage.
High ground.
Right. So I think, okay, I think cryptocurrency, it presents a very good opportunity for arbitrage speculation. Okay. Other than that, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing much to cry about. But I think after this turn of 97% crash, I'm sure it will rebound back with some people picking up some of the loose pieces. Then we go through another round of ups and down back again.
Sure. I mean, again, purely for the speculative and quick buck nature of it, right? If it drops, I mean, I think I think the sell down hasn't really finished yet. I saw
Bitcoin still 20 over 1,000. Yeah, so I saw some more.
I think it went back to 31 yesterday, but now it's at 28. I think we'll still go to 25 lah. I think I might probably take a bit once it hits 20 lah.
Okay, Okay, back in 2017, yeah, somebody was asking me about cryptocurrency. That's 2017. That's about 5 years ago. And the point of time, I think Bitcoin was valued at about 8,000. Yeah, just 8,000. Yeah, 8,000. So same thing as 5 years ago. I say there's no basis to base the valuation of cryptocurrency or even Bitcoin. So I don't exactly know how far I can go. Maybe you can speculate to 13,000 or 19 or 19,000, whatever. But end of the day, please be mindful about all this. Okay, that was back in 2017. But never know at 1 month, that December 2017, it shoot up into 19,000 K range, which shocked me. Okay, first of all, I didn't make any speculation prediction on it will shoot past 16,000. Okay, because first of all, like I mentioned to you, I think both of us have agreed that there's no basis of the valuation. So to me, right now it's over at 28,000. The chances of going down, maybe because of this crash, going down to even below 20,000, okay, could be a possibility. Okay, when people start to lose faith in all this cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, I think many people who have lost their fortune just over the last 24 hours. Yeah. So,
No,
well,
I mean, if you talk about we didn't manage to see, I mean, obviously we couldn't predict it. I first know about Bitcoin when it's only $3, okay?
oh, okay, that's
I mean,
20 what? That's
yeah,
2009.
that's the $1 million chance, you know. Imagine if I would just, for the sake of fun and laughter, right, spend 1,000 and buy 300 Bitcoins. Imagine how
Wow.
effing rich I am right now, right?
Wow, hint, you can go, you can straight away fulfill your
I mean,
retirement dream.
whoever you know bought some bitcoins for fun previously and forgot about it, those are the real winners of this speculation game.
True.
But at this moment, 20,000, like one coin already 20 something thousand. That's too much. Again, it's wildly speculative. I mean, we have no idea where it will go. And there
Yeah,
are always opposing forces, right? Whenever something drops, there will always be some forces with enough financial firepower to come in and scoop. So it will probably go. But I think this round, maybe the drop might be a bit more sustained for a couple of reasons. One, the crash is due to a recognition of a systemic failure. Because this time around the drop, right, is not because of emotion. It's not because of market emotion. You know, it's not like some crazy ass loudmouth billionaire said something and then it swing. You know, it's not because of such emotion. It's because there was a actual failure in a product that causes the sell out. And this coin is supposed to be so-called using a more advanced, more secure, more stable algorithm. So the shakiness, the fear right now is more systemic. It's more on the underlying structure of the system, not so much on, you know, someone say something about Dogecoin or someone say something about SafeMoon and then it just goes up and down. You know, that is very emotive. This one is more at the core of, you know, how to recognize or how to maintain the stability of cryptocurrency. So I think this really spoke quite a fair bit of people. So that's why the sell down, right? The other thing is because it's going at such a massive, fast rate, right? A lot of people don't have holding power.
Yeah, true.
A lot of people are in the game to maybe hold for a few weeks, a month, pull it out, you know, take profit and then re-churn the game. But when, you know, the shorting is so fast and furious, right? I think quite a fair bit of people cannot tahan the burn, cannot sustain the burn. So that's one thing. The other thing is also, right, because of whatever's going on in the world right now, right, traditional stocks are also in a bad shape.
I think everywhere is in a bit of shape.
So your institutional money, right, is also trying to pull and park safely.
Mm.
So I mean, again, I'm not really familiar with all these things, but it just seems to me from a layman point of view, whereby institutional money are trying to move to somewhere safe. They're trying to move away from stocks. They're trying to move away from cryptocurrency because stocks right now not that safe, right? Cryptocurrency worse. So because when your institutional money is trying to move to somewhere safe, it will create a vacuum in terms of sustainability in terms of the funds. So I think, yeah, this thing might continue for a while.
Well, let's see how things go. Anyway, the war is still on. Everything is going to increase over the next 2 years. PM Lee also said in the May Day rally that it's expected to have a recession within the next 2 years. So just brace for the worst. I think, look, the last 2 years we have gone through a total shutdown of the world, almost a total shutdown of lockdown of the whole world. Okay, shutdown of the global economy. I think we will have to continue to brace through the next 2 years of whatever still going to happen. Prices going to increase. It's manpower crunches, even in the midst of this reopening of the economy. So many things happening nowadays. I think it will take probably the next 6 months to make sense of where 2023 will be like. Yeah. In the area of business, I'm talking area business. Okay, not just on personal aspect. I think some of my business friends are also position themselves to brace for economic downturn as what PM Lee have said in the May Day rally. Yeah. So let's see how things go.
Yeah. I mean, I can sense a lot of costs coming up. That's true. Okay, or rather, actually, I didn't sense it. I'm just reading it.
I think, as entrepreneurs, I always see that it's not always doom and gloom. Okay, at every crisis, there's always opportunity. It's how and where and what opportunity we can siphon from all these crises or deemed to be crisis. Okay, say for example, the last 2 years, look, pandemic have caused us to actually lock down at home. Most of us rather work from home. So food delivery services have increased. Okay, and therefore you also experience some form of increase in your logistic costs, I presume. Okay, at the same time, there are people are doing or opening up small businesses and do a lot of all these digital businesses. Okay, from the digital space. I think there are pockets of opportunity. Is how and where and what can we sift through all these crises to find the opportunity right for us. So there's, to me, from an opportunist point of view, we need to actually go and sift out. Okay, be keen in terms of our senses, our business senses, and go out, meet more people, talk around, understand what is the issue with the various company and industry. And I think I do believe opportunity are abound. Just that okay, we need to actually sift out. It's like, finding all these gold nuggets in this sea of sands. Okay, gold digging. So I think we just need to actually do that action more often nowadays over the next 2 years.
Actually, I have a slightly different take.
Okay.
I think a lot of businesses have problem navigating especially in a downturn or global crisis or shutdown, whatever you call it, right? I think a lot of businesses have problems navigating through it, right? It's because they are too distracted by a lot of
Firefighting?
no, not about firefighting. I mean, like you mentioned about looking at opportunities and things like that, right? Like that, right? I think a lot of times businesses don't make it out of a challenging situation, right? It's because they are way too preoccupied with seizing the opportunities. They are moving about too much. They're moving about too much. In a storm, it's usually best that you stay put at one place and not frantically try to swim here, swim there.
Of course not.
You're drowned faster. So
Of course.
I think a lot of times businesses, right, when they are faced with difficult situations, crisis, whatever, right, first of all, the panic sets in, and they start looking around frantically and sometimes aimlessly at alternatives to get them out of the immediate shithole. But a lot of times, those actions, right, will just create further deeper shithole for you to sink into, if not the original one. And that's what I mean by you're moving in too many places, you're trying too many opportunities because you're trying to find a way out, of whatever crisis you're in. But a lot of times that actual mindset, that actual action, right, is what creates a deeper hole for you to sink into. Yeah. I don't think that's. I mean, if you're a multi-million-dollar company, you have resources, you can deploy teams to go out into the market and find a newer path, a better path for the company to move forward, right? That's a different story because you already have some form of establishment, you have some form of financial backing, and you have resources to be able to deploy across a few channels to spread out and increase your overall chance of success, right? But for a lot of SMEs, right, you don't have that means, you don't have the energy, the time, the necessary finances, the firepower, right, to place multiple bets. You're diluting all your bets. So, and even if a couple of those bets turn out to be good, right, because you're spreading yourself so thin, right, the ROI on those successful bets are not big enough to cover all the losses of your other failed bets.
Okay, fair enough. SME, that is always a challenge for SME because of resources tight situation, which I agree. I mean, when resources are tight, it will be challenging to look into new frontiers, to seek out opportunity, to establish another new ground. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's fair. But nevertheless, okay, if there's opportunity, I think it's also a good reminder of us as small business owner to really seek out opportunity during all this challenging time. I think there's bound to be some opportunities that we need to actually work hard to seek out the opportunity. But of course, resources is something that we need to be mindful of, and yeah, so it's good to take charge of what we have and consolidate our resources to punch forward. Yeah. But of course, it's not easy. Okay. The question is where. Question is how, and how much are we willing to put in there for the estimated ROI. Okay, which we rightfully pointed out. It's like it's always a trial and error, okay, and we don't have much of a resources to trial and error for SME. Worst is for micro SME. So every single step, right, is a calculated risk. Yeah. Okay.
True. Yeah. But then again, how should I put it? I probably would disagree slightly again.
No problem. I agree to disagree, or else it's not conversation. Then myself okay hold a political rally. Yeah, I agree with you.
I always think that the biggest challenge or biggest hurdle to cross for any business is your willingness to fall down. I mean, for lack of a better term, I've been talking to a few business associates, friends, customers, on and off over the last couple of weeks, right? And of course, everybody shares to certain degrees, certain extent of challenges faced in their business in terms of the economic situation, the tightness of the market, and of course that affects cash flow, affects payment collection, things like that, logistics, and so on. So obviously, all this affects the bottom line of any business, right? And then in this kind of friendly discussion, coffee shop talk and stuff, and we always talk about, we talk about ideas, we talk about options, what are some of the potential areas these businesses can pivot to, right? And I realized that actually there are a lot of options available. There are a lot of opportunities available. More importantly, right, it's not that they don't know where the opportunities are. Some of them probably have chronic challenges in their business, regardless of the economic climate. So some of them probably have already been opening themselves to, or have been thinking about where are the areas that they can change or transform their business, right? And sometimes I don't even have to say they are, sort of telling me. So I know that they some of them deep down, they know what is a probable solution out of whatever tight situation that they are in. But I often find that the reason that they are not moving forward, despite saying it out, the reason that they're not moving forward is they have this very morbid fear of failing, to the point that it paralyzes them from taking even a small step. So I see that with quite a fair bit of people that I talked to recently. Yeah, and it could be something that's quite common in a lot of businesses, where you might know what is the right step, you may know what's the right solution, but you're just not taking that step. Or no matter how small a first step, you're not even entertaining taking an action on it, because you are paralyzed by the fear of it not working.
Yeah, so coming back on this point, it's not easy lah. Okay, I think it's not easy for any one of us in business to take a bold step okay, in the midst of tight resources to try something interesting or be adventurous about our business venture. Yeah, so I think it's really, there's a lot of prep work need to do. Okay, there's a lot of risk we need to undertake. So every single step can be a risky move. So for SME, I'm talking for SME. So so at the end of the day, I think all of us appreciate that okay, to take that gutsy steps need a lot of courage.
Yeah, but you see, here's the thing. Need a lot of courage. Doesn't need a lot of resources. Doesn't need a lot of money. Doesn't need a lot of manpower. Courage is a psychological thing.
But courage, but the thing is that courage also backed up by resources. Okay, like what we actually mentioned, MNC, they are able to, because of their size of the resources they have, okay, to take a bold step into something totally new, trying out for 3 months, a project, and if they fail, the project team fail, the business unit fail, it's okay. then come back. Okay, let's
I think
you know what I mean?
Again, right? I don't agree, and I think that's actually very representative of a strategic failure in resource allocation and risk mitigation. When I'm not saying oh, you should drop all your main businesses and then go and explore something new and exciting, and hopefully that thing will turn out to be a winner. That's not what I'm saying. All right,
okay.
that is reckless. That's
precisely.
That's not only just risky, that is reckless. But my point is, right, a lot of businesses or a lot of people that I talk to, right, and when it comes to this whole idea of, okay, I'm stuck, I have this challenge, it could be a current challenge, it could be a chronic challenge, but regardless, there's a challenge, the business is stuck. How do I move, right? You can move baby steps. If you're unsure of the temperature of the water, right, don't jump right in. Dip your toe. My point being, right, most of them don't even dare to dip the toe. And then this becomes a systemic failure of strategic thinking for the entire business.
Okay, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
only when you have that mental preparedness to say, okay, let's dip our toe, right? Then you can move to the next actionable thinking process, which is, okay, how many toes do I want to dip? Do I want to dip one toe or two toes? Or I am comfortable in dipping one whole leg. That is the process of doing your risk assessment. That is the process of evaluating how much of your resource, attention, and focus you can allocate to this small little experiment that you want to try out. And not rock the boat, right? That is the actual evaluation. But before you go to the actual risk evaluation, if you don't even have that mentality, right? Yeah, if you don't even have the mental switch to want to be able to go into that evaluation process, right? Then you will never cross the river, so to speak.
Okay, then that's where I also agree on that. Okay, is have to take that first step, then decide what to do. Okay.
Yeah, but I think that's why I think a lot of times, right, the real challenge is a lot of businesses are not willing to even entertain taking that first step.
Well, that's part and parcel of us dealing with SME. So I mean, okay, so yeah, like in fact, this afternoon I was having a sharing session on my 9M of entrepreneurship. We share the many M's of entrepreneurship, which over the years I've actually accumulated my experience. Interesting. Although the first M started with money, okay, that was the original first M of entrepreneurship I have. But over the years, I've evolved, okay, and I recognize that mindset is the very first M in business. And that's where just now we discussed it. I think it's also boils down to the mindset of the business owner. Okay.
Agree.
Yeah, how you want to take his business forward. If 你这边怕东那边怕西 don't even want to take the first step out to actually explore. I mean, not like what you mentioned, the resource planning, resource allocation, and even don't want to take the first step, it's very difficult to even do resource planning.
Yeah.
Because it all started off with your mindset first. Yeah, without that, I'm sorry, no matter how many consultants you consult, no matter how many people, mentors you look for, yeah, it will still be hunter-lucky situation.
Yeah, true. No matter how many coaches, no matter how many consultants, no matter how good they are, they can't make you into a winner if you don't have the mentality of a champion.
Yeah, I think all of us recognize that. I mean, especially two of us, I've seen so many of this type of business owner, right? 你要帮 but 他们不要帮自己，哇， how. I also don't know how. Yeah. So we are also hand tight. Okay, it's just like the doctor asks you to take medicine, you don't want to take, you don't dare to take. Okay, okay, lor. Then what can we do? Yeah, then what can we do? Okay, we are also stuck. Correct.
That's unfortunate. That's true.
So we can only help if you can help yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always use the analogy of like, athlete,
Catholic. Yeah.
athlete,
Okay.
right? An athlete, right? You have a coach. The coach can guide you, make sure that you monitor you, review with you and all these things, right? But ultimately, the race, you're the one running it.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So if you don't have the fortitude, if you don't intend to run the race yourself, if you don't intend to push yourself to run, you're never going to bring back the gold medal. The coach is not the person running it for you.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, sorry, just a little bit of 解铃须
解铃还须系铃人。
还是续铃correct correct. So at the end of the day, that's what we can do lah. But kind of okay. So from a business angle, okay, I think the next 2 years we really have to observe what's going on. Okay, I do not foresee the war will end soon. And even the war end, okay, there's still a number of post-war situation going to be happen. Sanctions will be still ongoing. Inflation pressure still be will take a while to smoothen out. Federal Reserve just increased their interest rate. So I do see it's only the beginning of the next few rounds. Okay, how much in terms of increase? Maybe 25 basis point. Okay, which is quite a lot. Probably over the next 3 months, another 25% basis point increase is a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you and I agree. And I think not so okay. Besides the war and all the repercussions that it brings, right? I think the big challenge right now, at least in our part of the world, right, is right. You have 2 years of broken SOPs.
Okay.
And we are now in a mad frantic rush to restore everything.
Yeah.
Problem is a lot of things can't be restored. So it breaks the norms of certain businesses.
Yeah.
And actually, if you think about it, right, war is a spike in the long line of history. Every war. I mean, when you live through the period of war, you think that it's end of the world. But in the long line of history, war is actually just an anomaly. It's just a spike, right? And if you look through history, right, every time after war, there's usually unprecedented boom. Because what goes down very fast comes up very fast, right? The way I see the bigger challenge ahead of us is right because of the war, because of COVID, right? It exposed a lot of hidden, underlying, brewing in the darkness polarization sentiments. That one much harder to put back into the genie lamp. Right now, nobody is talking about globalization. Nobody is talking about global trade because two biggest economies are not cooperating. Both of them expect every other smaller player to take sides. It's going to be a very polarizing and challenging business environment moving forward. And that polarization, right? At least on one side, right, it would take another four to 6 years, 2 election cycles to ride out lah, to smooth out lah.
I think this polarization had happened since many years back. Since that's actually probably before Trump time, before 2016 election. The polarization started off, but I think it's intensified over the last 6 months. Of course, it started off in a more aggressive way during Trump administration, but right now things are getting worse because of this war, and nations are starting to really take side now, not so much and in the previous few years or 5 years, 6 years ago. People are still trying to stay on the fence, but at this point of time, I do have to agree that polarization intensified, and really nations start to really take sides with what's going on in the geopolitical situation. Because at the end of the day, survival, like what PMD had mentioned, national interest still comes first.
Of course.
Okay. So, and people right now are really looking towards these two polarizing end, and how to navigate the whole entire relationship with these two economic giants, and knowing that right now they are really competing more aggressively in many areas of the global industry. So it's really a chess play. Right now, I really call it a chess play. Move your piece wrongly to whichever side, right? Okay, you're going to expect a coffee session or visits, from another side.
Yeah, so you see, regardless, right? The issue is, right? Okay, like if you talk about before Trump era, right? My take on it is there's one fundamental difference. Before Trump, before the war, even when the superpowers are at odds, right? They still bother to maintain a layer of diplomatic decorum.
Have to, brother.
No, but my point is, no, but my point is, nowadays, they don't really care so much about, getting the other party offended.
Yeah, that's true.
You get me or not? So they don't really care so much about, let's put up a nice show. No, right now it's all out already,
Yeah.
And that's a very dangerous thing. That's a more challenging thing, because everything is exposed. You're forced to take sides. You're forced to make a stand. You're forced to make a position, and every position, every stand you take, right, has its own implications.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now it's very bare bone already. You're being asked to take a stand. Last time a lot of small players don't need to take a stand. We can murky it out in the gray. Now there's only black and white. There's no gray zone for people to navigate.
Have some gray zone just that the gray zone becomes smaller only It's instead of a wider gray zone
it's much harder to navigate
so need to move correctly on your chess piece Yeah, like so the Solomon Island situation right now, I think getting a little bit intensive. The Chinese police are there to provide the assistance to the Solomon government. So I think it's getting a bit edgy in this part of the world. Southeast Asia is at least to my friend, we had spoke to over the weekend. It's like our Romance of Three Kingdoms. This is Jingzhou. Yeah.
Okay.
必争之地. Okay. 必争之地. Okay. Jingzhou.
All right.
So over the next few years, we just need to see what's going on, and I think as Singapore, okay, we are quite well positioned, okay, in terms of economic stability to have MNC to house here as HQ. So I think in terms of
No, I mean to put it bluntly, on that note, right? To put it bluntly, right? We stand to gain more.
Yeah, true.
than losing. Every time when the two big superpower trash it out, right? We win. Because every time they trash it out, right? The strategic displacement, right, always net benefit us.
Mm.
Correct or not? Every time they trash it out, right? The displacement of talent, the displacement of business, the displacement of investment always net gain to us.
Yeah.
So I honestly think that not that we wish anything here on other countries or nations or territories or whatever, but you know, the fact of the matter is, right, every time they langgar, right, every time there's a clash, right, we stand to gain.
We always stand to gain. From the economic point of view, we always stand to gain.
Yeah. So
okay, in a geopolitics situation, I think Singapore is well placed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, I think as in the view of business, I think it's also time for us to tap on the advantage, okay, of the position of Singapore to move out. For some of SMEs were able to move out, because we always be seen to be that what you call it, the guy there's a neutral, okay. Well, at some point of time we do take sides, okay, on either end, to navigate for the sake of business. Yeah.
My take is more straightforward. There's only so much you can do in a population of 5 million. We are not predisposed to be able to expand with just a small population. The functional role of Singapore in a geopolitical situation or a climate, right? We are the brain of a functioning ecosystem.
Yes, correct. We need to take advantage of that position.
And if you look at all the messaging that our leadership has, you know, broadcast over the years, right? I would say, right, the one that leaves the biggest impact on me is actually what Goh Chok Tong has said when he was the PM. That to me has the most profound impact personally, and that to me actually outlines the fundamental core mentality that every Singapore business should have. Singapore is an island. We don't have a hinterland, right? Goh Chok Tong was the one who said, wrong. We have a hinterland. Our hinterland is 7-hour radius from Singapore. And by that, he meant the entire Asia. Anywhere where you can take a plane, a flight, and reach within 7 hours is our hinterland. So the moment you buy into Goh Chok Tong's idea of a 7-hour hinterland concept, right? Then you realize that what he was saying is we are never meant to do business within our own small little island.
In fact, I subscribe to that as well. Okay,
Yeah.
but of course, it's not 7 hours. Mine is actually 4 hours radius.
Yeah.
A smaller radius. Okay, and I think that piece of cake is big enough. Is big enough. Okay, 7 hours. Wow, that is fantastic.
Oh, I think 7 hours but when you do 7 hours, it covers Australia. I think that's probably why it was 7 hours. Because if you do 4 hours, it's purely within Southeast Asia.
Oh, okay, fair enough. If you add Australia, that's 7 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so I think that was what he was trying to say, that you just plot based on your flight zone, right? Realize that the entire upper east side, plus a bit towards the west, Asia is our hinterland.
Right. Yeah, it brought me to my experience in China was in China the Chinese don't mind travel a one full day flight from one end of China to the other end of China, and do business, and to them it's like taking a bus, a 7-hour flight within China is like taking a bus. To us, taking a bus of a half an hour only. So
no, I mean it's also
that was a very big paradigm shift to me at the point of time.
No, I mean it was it's also a very common concept in US, right? You see, businesses always fly from East Coast to West Coast in a day or overnight just to do some business. And then if you look at Europe, right, continental Europe, right, a lot of times diplomats, businesses in Geneva always just one bus trip down to Paris.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay.
In fact, I think good that you brought this topic. I think it's for some business owner who are watching this talk show. Yeah, we need to actually embrace a 7-hour mentality. Yeah, that is a big market.
Yeah. You think straight away 45 minutes flight, you're in KL already. I don't know how what's there to stop, Yeah, 3 hours you're in Indonesia. 3 hours you can hit Indonesia, Cambodia, Vietnam.
Yeah, within 3 hours you can fly all the way to the southern part of China as well.
Yeah, that's why I say 4 hours is basically entire Southeast Asia covered area. And then like within China itself, now they have the Gaotie so fast, like from Guangzhou to Guangxi, right? 3.5 hours.
Yeah, the Gaotie even faster.
Yeah.
So the concept of distance should not hinder our business development.
No, it should not. Yeah.
Yeah. However, having said that, right, I think you and I have experienced, many business owners just want to do things in Singapore.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. No, but again goes back to it's a mindset thing. It's a mindset thing.
True, it's a mindset. Yeah, that's why this afternoon, when people was asking me which of the M of entrepreneurs which is the most important, if I were to rank in terms of important, mindset is always the most important. That's why I always put M. My first M is mindset. Because with that, right, it bring about the other M's coming in. Which is motivation. Understand what motivates you deeply. If you are in business, why are you in business in the first place? Then we talk about the third M, market. With the motivation, what you want to do. At which market are you entering? Fourth, within the market, what sort of market gap that you set yourself a mission to accomplish? The mission, mission. Maybe in a weight loss industry, you feel that too many people rely on the supplement to do weight loss. You want to find a healthy way to encourage people to do weight loss. Okay, that's probably your USP. That's probably you want to build your branding, your vision, your value system. Okay, please go ahead. Then we also look at your business model. Okay, how are you going to make money? Okay, are you going to go by the pay per use model or whatever? Okay, what's your measurement model? What sort of measurement are you tracking yourself in terms of your business success? Then next we talk about message, which is how are you going to market yourself? Okay, what sort of channel? What sort of content? How? Okay. Then we look into after you gain some form of success, how do you continue your momentum, business momentum? Are you going upstream, downstream? Are you going to increase your product range or even include service as part of your product offering? Are you going to actually work with partners? Okay, or are you going to actually ask for VC for expansion? Which that's why I joke about when it comes to VC funding, look for the man. Money, expertise, and network. Okay, not just money. Then after that, the last 2M will be you need to create a mastery of your what you're doing. Okay, then you get able to create a branding for yourself. I mean, all of us as business owner, okay, or rather most of us, I shouldn't use a sweeping statement. Most of us as business owner we want to conquer the piece of pie, the piece of cake that we have conquered, and we provide as much offering as possible. Unfortunately, from a branding perspective, and Bobby, Elva, I might agree with that you cannot be everything to everyone. Correct?
I totally agree.
You can't be everything to everyone. Who are you? Who are you? Okay, what problems, what specific problem are you solving for who? How to build branding? And of course, the last M I always talk about is mentorship. Okay, seek mentorship not just people, but maybe online courses, maybe some books, maybe some audio books, ebooks, and whatever you can actually get to learn as much as possible to hone our skill set, our knowledge in the area of expertise. Okay, like Alva, you're in SEO. Okay, therefore, okay, the whole entire branding is about SEO, and probably your guys are also really deep dive into SEO to become the specialist, not just expert, but specialist in that area. But of course, you have other prerequisites, you have other attached expertise, but the branding is SEO.
Correct? Yes, agree, exactly. And I also have quite a fair bit of conversation around branding and positioning with some clients and some business associates over the last couple of weeks, right? And yes, totally right. I am of the position that I always advocate one singular brand position. Always advocate a singular brand position. Be known for one thing and one thing only. Just be known for one thing and one thing only in the market, and the market will come to you.
Yes, correct.
As simple as that. There's nothing else to think about. There's nothing else to think about. Yeah. The magic of it is when the market comes to you for the thing that you are very, very good at, the market automatically assume you are also not bad at other things.
Yep.
Yeah. So then there's no point in wasting resources, wasting focus on trying to say, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, we can do that. It's kind of meaningless.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, while it's a fanciful idea to conquer the whole piece of pie, okay, but I always stress to even my mentees, don't try to be everything to everyone. End of the day, you will lost your branding, and you are in for a red ocean. Okay, even in the red ocean, you can also find revenue. So if you do your good branding, and if you don't do a good branding, even in the blue ocean, you also find difficulty to survive. Okay, so that's why I think I fully agree with Elva. They choose one thing to be known. Then from there, you can expand to some other related one.
No, in fact, if you're very good at one thing, right, you don't even probably need to think about expanding horizontally. Because if you're very good at one thing, you're probably getting a good margin. You're probably able to hold your price. You're probably able to get good clients, and you're probably going to get a strong profitability in that one specific discipline or sector that you're very good at, right? You don't really need to go and be concerned with other smaller, also nice to have income streams, because they probably wouldn't compare, to your main pillar, which you are already in the market and known in the market to be very, very good at.
Yep. True.
Yeah.
Just a cardiologist, just do heart operation good enough. Yeah, don't need to go and do other things.
Yeah. Something like that, right? So, in fact, I mean, but I do understand that the shiny object syndrome is everywhere, even to people like us who preach this whole concept of singular focus on a singular lane, right?
Like, true. I'm also guilty of that.
Yeah, every day, even every day now, whenever we do internal discussion, internal review, and we do our strategic planning, right? We are also always in two minds about, there are certain opportunities. Should we expand? Should we broadcast our availability for certain services and things like that? And we ourselves often have to really listen to what we preach ourselves and control the urge to go and shout. We really have to control the urge to go and shout, and stick to our guns in the thing that we are really good and known for. Yeah. So I do understand, the shiny object syndrome is not going to go away. It's probably just human nature.
Yeah,
it takes discipline. It takes discipline to avoid it. It takes discipline to be really, mindful about not being too diluted. Yeah. I see all the time. Even, I mean, especially in my trade. I mean, to be upfront, because as an agency, right? The nature of agency is whatever the client wants, you try to fulfill, right? Yeah. So I have a lot of business associates, friends who are also in the same industry, right? They find it very difficult to say no. They find it very difficult to turn down clients for services, for little this and that, right? That they are actually not optimized or efficient in. Because again, the fear of, if they don't do this, the client might move to someone else. So in the end, they have to keep doing more and more, covering more and more service areas to hold on to the clients. And in that process, right, tire themselves out because they now have to spend their energy on a lot of things. Your operational costs also increase. Whether you use in-house or outsource, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, when you need to cater for so many services, right, your corresponding cost goes up. Yeah, and then for the time and effort, for the cost increment, then obviously your margin, your profitability takes a hit. So you might see a better top line value, but the margin and profitability takes a hit. Then after a while, it's kind of just trading dollars. It probably doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. I see a lot of such things happening in my trade among my peers, which is kind of unnecessary. Yeah.
Well, in my area of experience, similar, I also actually been exposed to many different business opportunity, and therefore, of course, this shiny object syndrome do rub on me as well. So that's why I always try to be mindful of myself, not to actually dive deep into that particular area, so that I won't be swayed into that area of business thinking. Because I mean, for business owner like us, okay, the moment we get excited over a new idea, we probably deep dive, and the moment we deep dive, that's it. We may have one of our legs stuck in the mud, and to pull it out, right, okay, can be quite challenging. So as much as possible, okay, we need to remind ourselves not to commit this type of shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, I try to stay as de-interested as possible these days.
Not easy. Okay.
So, well, I mean, of course, we have our own main business, core business, right? So for me, obviously, very straightforward. It's still Strider is still my main business. SEO is still our main focus. Then on the side, again, as you know, I have a new F&B business, right? And that's pretty much it. The F&B, it serve as a counter programming to my main business. That's it. So it's more like taking a break from the main business just to let the brain rewire itself a bit. But again, even then, I mean, I have to control myself and stop at 2, because taking on a third thing, taking on a fourth thing, it's going to dilute. It's going to dilute energy, and then things will start to unravel. So I'm trying to stay as uninterested in other things as possible.
I think it's not easy. Okay. That's the reason why, okay, as much as possible.
No, like we Chinese have this 俗语, right? 无官一身轻, right? Right? Yeah. So I think I don't know in your 9M do you talk about it, but in terms of mentality and mindset, right? A big part of it is how strong your mentality, your mindset is, right? Largely is also affected by the strength of your mental health. And I think increasingly that's very important. And mental health, a lot of times, right, is having the tranquility and calmness in your mind, not to have too much unnecessary ripples. Yeah. And a lot of times for because business can go haywire, more often than not, right? So by having more distraction, by having involvement in more businesses, right, it's actually an excuse for more ripples to be created in your mind, and that affects mental health. Yeah. So I think less is actually more in this case.
Although in terms of mindset, I didn't really touch on this mental health thing. Okay, but in fact, right, because it's only a very short briefing or sharing session, so I didn't actually talk about mental health. But in my original 9M of entrepreneurship, okay, I do talk about mental health. Okay,
then you can 10M. People got 10X. You can have 10.
No, okay, it's under mindset. Okay, actually, mental health, this particular M, right? Because the 9M itself lead to I last tabulate, I last consolidate. There's over 30 M's that I found out. Okay, on entrepreneurship. Okay, just that the 9M are the header of the other 20 over M's.
Right, I see.
Yeah. So like for example, mindset. Okay, I do talk about mental health. Just that I don't really focus on that. Okay, in short sharing session, but I will talk about that when it's tend to be a more lengthy sharing session. I will talk about mental health, because all business owner, you and me, we will go through some mental health issue. For example, sometimes you can get very overwhelmed, okay, with a lot of firefighting issue, especially when our team are not big, it's not big enough to help us to deflate some of these challenges. Or if we are facing important decision, major decision we need to make in terms of business, we do feel that mental stress, and that actually will deteriorate our quality of life as well, especially as business owners. Sometimes we lose sleep due to some very big issue, and our emotional state may take a toll, and we can get very frustrated and very short-tempered over things. So therefore, under my mindset, the first M, I cover things like mental health. Sometimes we will reach the mountains, okay, of our business, okay, meaning we can get very high in the air. But at the same time, we probably need to actually manage our misery, okay, in business, okay. We will make mistakes. We will have missteps. We have misjudgment. We have misunderstanding from people around us, especially our family members. So these are a lot of M's within just one M itself. So when I talk about other M's, I also talk about things like business is a machinery. Okay, we need to know as much as possible how the entire machine works. But do we exactly need to know the individual parts? If our team members, if we're able to get team members to take care of the individual parts, then we just need to be on the business. We may not need to be in the business. Right?
Until one fine day when you decide to live stream, then you realize that you forgot the password.
Okay. Then when I come to talk about motivation, the second M, okay, well, it's not just about money that motivate us to go into business, but it could be a movement that we partake. For example, sustainability. Today we talk about sustainability, okay, and we might find opportunity in the no plastic waste segment, meaning can we have paper container? Can we have biodegradable container, paper container, or stuff like that? These are opportunity within the sustainability itself. So are you heading for money, just for the purpose of money, or are you going forward, right, with a certain movement as well? Okay, and if you combine this thing, it can be social enterprise. Okay, maybe this movement is for the hawkers. I want to set up good hawker rentals for hawkers. That's the reason why there are social enterprise that look after hawker rental issues, okay, as a social enterprise. Okay, so it's a movement. It also need to make money. In business, this M is important. The M for money is important. And when we talk about this what you call it, marketing, or what you call message, we talk about media. Okay, which media are you going? Are we using? What sort of medium are we using? Are you going for the English speaking, Chinese speaking, Malay speaking, Indian speaking, Japanese speaking, or whatever speaking as a form of medium for your marketing channel? Okay, and we also talk about mileage. Okay, how far do you is going to take on that marketing effort? Okay, so there's so many M's within my just one M. So when I actually map out the whole entire M's of my entrepreneurship, it's almost 30 of them. Okay, with 9 of them are the header, the 9M as a header. Then the rest of the M fall within the different M's as well. Okay, and one more thing, when I talk about marketing, it has to be music to your end consumer. It's only when it's music, it inspires them to buy from you, take an action, the call to action from you. So how you do a copywriting, it must seem to be music. That's the magical feeling that you get from doing this thing. So there's many M's. Okay, so that it's just out of it's just something out of a bit a late night inspiration that I start to actually compile all the M's in one night. But I'll still continue to add more M's, which I saw that over the time, as I share more of the M's of entrepreneurship, incidentally, I adding more M's into my sharing session.
I see.
Yeah, there's many M's. Yeah. So okay, I mean, at the end of the day, okay, this is just one thought. Okay, the M's are just one thought, but more important is each individual M, we need to seriously deep dive and really put it into a kind of a lifestyle as a business owner. Yeah, not easy lah, but I think all the M's we can make a difference. Okay, and it's also take madness to start a business. Okay, for some people who are into creating a business at some point of time, you need to be a bit crazy, just like what Steve Jobs mentioned.
Yeah. You need to have you need to be short of certain screws lah to want to
run something. Yeah, so that's
no, but
why
but it's an interesting thing because do you think entrepreneurs are born or made?
well, I would say more of the born, but it can be made as well. Okay, it can be made by circumstances. Okay, sometimes I've seen third world country little kids 6 years old, they start their entrepreneur journey. Okay, by selling for their family F&B stores. So that's actually a part of entrepreneurship experience. Whether they're going to move it forward right in the later years to do something else, that is a different story. Yeah. So it's sometimes why I call it more of a bond is because some people are ready made for business. They just don't like the status quo position. They want to make improvement of the world, just like Elon Musk. Okay, when he created PayPal, he want a better system to make monetary transaction. Did he talk about making money? Maybe yes, but I think more of inspired to do something better for the world. So with this type of mentality, can you say that it's been made? Not necessarily. It's probably some calling, some character, some personality thing that some entrepreneurs like us to actually will want to actually do something better for the world. For the sake of money, probably yes. For the betterment of the circumstances surrounding us, probably yes as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I also lean towards the notion that entrepreneurs are probably more born than me. Yeah. You know, if you start your entrepreneurial journey at a later stage in life, right? That's simply because you haven't reached enlightenment yet. You know, it's not because you're made. You are born with that spirit. Is just that you haven't reached the stage where it bloomed. I think I also tend to think entrepreneurs are born. Yeah.
So that's my take on entrepreneurs. There's so many things we can talk about on entrepreneurship. I mean, I don't like always start off all my session that I don't profess to be a guru. Okay, I'm also learning on a daily basis. Okay, from any person, anywhere, anything. So that's the reason why when I look at some videos, even as simple as somebody sharing on their life, I also start to think about what is the learning lesson I can learn from his life or her life based on this particular video or experience that he shared or she shared.
I want to switch off my learning already. I'm dialing down my learning. But you know, but interestingly, right, I personally actually don't really like the label of entrepreneur.
What type of label?
Or as in this whole entrepreneur label or this whole concept of entrepreneur, I actually personally don't really subscribe to it that much.
It's too
And
hype up or what?
I think it's too. I mean, it could be one thing. One thing is it could be too hyper. It could be too generalized. You know, it could be a lot of fluffiness that doesn't touch the ground. And so I don't really like. For example, right? I'm never in my 21 years, right, called myself an entrepreneur. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think functionally, that's not how I view myself. Probably, you know. Because it is a very loaded word. You know, just like
Yes, it is.
as cliche as it sounds, branding is a very loaded word. Branding means different things to different people. Likewise, entrepreneur means different thing to different people. Some people brandish the word entrepreneur, right, as their shortcut or excuse to attention.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Especially in such a crowded, noisy digital world.
Yeah.
The brand entrepreneurs, okay.
Some label themselves entrepreneur just to feel good about themselves.
Well, I think you and I know entrepreneur encompass so much things. So like I say, there's always
I prefer
misery.
I prefer to be more precise. That's what I'm really trying to say. I prefer to be more precise. Okay. I give you an example. For example, right? If today you are a one-man operation agency, right? You can call yourself an entrepreneur. And feel good about it. You know, you can put on your social media, you can put on LinkedIn profile, you can tell you, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, right? But in reality, you're a one-man operation, right?
Yeah.
And if you're a one-man operation, right, there's no chance on earth that you are considered a business owner.
Yeah.
So that's just one example of there's a very big difference in terms of the fluffy marketing positioning versus the actual reality or functional role of where you are. You know, yeah. Like in the same way, right? A business owner can also call himself an entrepreneur, which is nothing wrong. You know, a factory owner can call himself an entrepreneur. Because I think it's too loaded, and that word itself has no meaning until you dive deeper into the actual functional aspect of it. Which is why every time when I hear people tell me, "Oh, you're an entrepreneur," I try very hard not to roll my eyes, you know, because it's as good as telling me nothing. What other information can I deduce from you saying that you're an entrepreneur, right? I can't. You know, there's no deeper meaning attached to it except whatever you make out of it. Yeah. So in that sense, I don't necessarily like that kind of label. You know, I mean, you tell me, okay, you are a online merchant, you are a e-tailer, you are a F&B operator. I understand what you're doing. You know, I understand the behind, I understand the in front, I understand the left and right. I know how to engage you in meaningful conversation. When you tell me you're an entrepreneur, I have no effing idea where's the positioning of that conversation. Yeah.
I always share, okay, as entrepreneurs, we solve problem. Okay, I mean, this is something I always share with some of my mentees. So if somebody introduce himself or herself to me as entrepreneur, then what problem are you solving? Yeah, as a business owner, I see where you're coming from. As a business owner, if I introduce myself as a business owner, I'll say, okay, I make money out of doing this thing.
But no, but you see,
yeah.
here's the thing. I mean, okay, again, not to ruffle feathers, but you know me. A legit entrepreneur, right, won't call himself an entrepreneur. You ask any, you ask any business owner, you ask any businessman, right? Depending on what focus he has at that moment, right, he will tell you the exact functional role of that business.
Yeah, true. As a business owner, yes.
In fact, he won't even say I'm a business owner, because that is also a very vague and loaded term. You know?
Yeah, they will just go straight. I sell
this.
I sell pancake to you.
I'm in construction. I run an automobile business. Real business people, right, tend to be very precise and actual about the way they describe their business.
I will just use the word direct.
Yeah, very direct, right? Very direct. So my BS spider sense, right, when talking to people is the moment they tell you something vague about what they're doing, right, is a entrepreneur wannabe. not really in the actual business operational sense of it. Yeah. Okay. Because again, a real business person would tell you exactly what he does. Yeah.
Yeah, more direct.
Yeah.
Not so fluffy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not so fluffy.
Yeah. Like for example, if today someone asks you, right, hey, Stephen, what you do? You won't say, oh, I'm a business owner. You won't say I'm an entrepreneur. You would instinctively say, oh, I provide coaching and training.
Yeah.
Because that is the cornerstone of everything else you do.
Yeah.
That's my point. That's my point. Yeah.
Okay, it is in the world of I would say creative marketing. Okay, quote and unquote. Okay, people like to use different titles. Okay, it just reminds me of somebody was sharing a story. Okay, there is this person, this little boy, rather not little boy, as a young man. Okay, gave him a name card called account manager.
Yeah.
Okay. Then my friend asked him, what account do you manage? Account manager, ma? Yeah. You definitely manage account, Okay. So long story short, at the end of the day, okay, he is managing that he's actually he's a cashier, okay, of a 7-Eleven store. So he managed the accounts of all the consumer coming into the point of purchase.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so he's managing accounts. So he's an account manager. Okay, that create a joke among all of us in the conversation. Oh, so he's the account manager of 7-Eleven store. Okay, which is a cashier point.
Yeah.
So this is a fire. Of course, this we turn it around to make it as a joke. Okay, but I mean in the creative marketing world, people like use different titles to mask. The word is mask the
I think
the identity.
I think the age-old maxim applies, the more people is telling you, right, the less you know. The less they say, the more you know.
Yeah, so well, coming back to this one, I think inevitable there will be people talking about, I mean, try to mask their true identity. So just to actually they just want to be very comfortable with what, I mean, it gives a little bit of self-esteem boost. I can understand. But if you do it too blatant, it can come off from a negative angle.
Come off as not authentic or
Yeah,
very fakey.
it brought me to many years back when I was insurance agent. Yeah, when I took name cards from some fellow colleagues of the industry. They like to put themselves business or financial coach, financial architect. Yeah, especially the financial architect is something that actually throw me off my chair. Financial architect, wow. Yeah, very cheap, right? Okay, and now I go financial engineer. Okay, so you're with the bank or with the agent company? So sometimes this title can, well, like just I mentioned, give a very negative impression at the end of the day. So I'd rather be upfront with you. I'm an insurance agent, I sell insurance, I'm with Prudential, that's it. Okay, so yeah, just I'd rather understand your needs, okay, and what Prudential can provide, okay, to satisfy your needs. Straightforward. 不用 go through all the image masking. I call it image masking. Yeah, image masking. Okay, uplift yourself. I would say ego. Uplift your self ego. Boost a little bit ego to actually present yourself much better in the public eye. Well, to some extent, it does help, but to many extent, I think it bring more harm, more damage rather than advantage. I'd rather you to be upfront.
Yes,
Tell me what you
totally
want.
agree. Totally, simply because I mean, it not just insurance cuts across all businesses, cuts across all entrepreneurs, right? Because the moment you put on the facade, you can't bring it down.
Yeah.
You know that whole fake it till you make it, right? Right. But
yeah, the fake it. What fake it
no,
till you make it?
Fake it till you make it, right? There's a positive side to it. But I think what we are trying to say here is, right, on the negative side of it is when you fake something, right, a lot of times you need to carry that fakeness, you need to carry that facade much longer than you intended to or are prepared for, and it always almost comes and bite you back in the ass.
Yeah. So 不要害假啦。So yeah,
也没有那么大的头，就不要戴那么大的帽。
Yeah, that's why after a while when this was reminded by my US counterpart, okay, because I mean he made a comment which I actually agreed to a large extent. Because of this title of financial advisor.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it cut across insurance advisor, investment advisor, stockbroker, really financial planners, all cut across. Because like this title is too generalized. In America, if you use this title, if you are not meet up to the client expectation, you can be sued. Okay, because in America, financial advisor means that you can 包刷包害. Okay, meaning I say I come to you to ask for things that related to my finance, my personal finance. I expect you to actually have certain numbers. Okay, not just that, but certain number of expertise. Whether it's on insurance, whether on investment, whether on estate planning, retirement planning, child education, you are there. Okay, I expect you to be there. Yeah. So you are supposed to be comprehensive. Just like if I come to accountants, okay, in Australia, okay, you jolly well, you go and take care of anything that, okay, I come to you, okay, for accounting. Okay, I don't want you to say, oh, I don't do this thing, I don't do that thing. Then, okay, if things goes wrong, okay, can be liable for suit. Okay, so that's happened in Australia and in America, whereby you have to live up to that title, the weight of a title. Correct. the weight of title. Like just now I mentioned that 没有这样大的帽，不要戴那个就不要戴那个这样大的帽啦。
Yeah.
Okay, so this thing is this thing I'm mindful. Yeah, mindful. I think it's not just about financial service, but cut across the business. Yeah, cut across all area of business. And in America, okay, if you're coming from an insurance aspect, okay, you have to tell the client upfront or prospect upfront that I only do the insurance product for the financial advisory. I'm a insurance-based financial advisor. Okay, I use insurance product to solve your personal financial case, or I can only do insurance-related financial services. Yeah. So this is something that I think as we move along in business over the years, we start to discover it's better to tell people, hey, this is what I do. I specialize in that. Okay, I don't do anything more. We just now actually mentioned as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that actually form your basis of the branding. So once you are good enough, like cardiologists, there's no need for you to actually explore other fields. If you are damn good in that area, and your clients will come to you, rather you go and find the clients.
True.
Yeah.
I think for all service providers, businesses, it makes a lot of sense to just focus. There's no two way about it.
I think even in product, I also find that it's good to do some specialization as well. If I cater for certain age group, for certain facial conditions, for certain whatever, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that is where you carve out your niche market.
Okay, but that one I slightly disagree. When it comes to product, or by extension service line, right? I think there is room to be expansionary.
Of course.
As long as it's still within the focus narrative.
Okay, yeah. I mean, the concept is still
no. For example, like just now you talk about skincare, right? Okay. I wouldn't. The way I look at it is, right. Using it as an example, the skincare brand. What's your positioning? You are trying to solve a problem with too much chemicals in skincare products, so you want to have a chemical-free, organic, natural skincare range. That's what you're trying to solve. Or you're trying to solve the problem of unnecessary high retail price markup. Right?
Okay.
That's one positioning, right? But within that positioning, I think it is fair game if you say, okay, within this positioning, my skincare products are all chemical-free, no preservative, it's all natural, it's all organic, right? But I sell to kids, I sell to teenagers, I sell to adults, I sell to young adults, I sell to elderly. I can have a big spread of audience.
I understand where you're coming from. But at the end of the day, your storyline is still natural. So
yes, correct.
Cater for this particular
So that's what
population, the population. That's what I meant. This is what I meant.
That's what I meant. Yeah. The focus is on that thing. But within that focus, of course, you can cover as wide as possible the variations of the market that buys into that concept.
Yeah. So what I meant was that as well. Yeah. The overarching point of focus. Where are you focusing your product? Okay, in terms of your, like what I mentioned, the technical name, your brand message.
Yeah.
So that's So that's the thing. It's about focus. At the end of the day, it's about focus. What do we want? What is your message? Same thing. One of my M of entrepreneurship. What's your M? The message. What's the focus? And just now I also mentioned, okay, in the afternoon, I also mentioned the focus comes from knowing or clearly define your SOM, okay, serviceable, optimal market. Okay, how clearly define your serviceable, optimal market? I mean, we have a TAM, total accessible market, then we'll go down. It's almost like the TOEFL, MOFO, or BOFO type of thing, but it's not, but it's looking for a funnel. Same thing looking for funnel. Okay, what is your after your TAM, total accessible market, then look at your serviceable.
No, I think when you look
accessible
at
market.
I think when you look at TAM, right, you're looking more at catchment area.
Catchment
So
area is
catchment area is always TOEFL.
yeah. So therefore, at the end of the day, it still about boils down to this SOM. Who exactly are your SOM? Then from there, it's easy for us to actually pinpoint how to, or rather, what is your message. Also, okay, your same thing, the same message. We cannot be everyone to everyone or everything to everyone.
I used to agree to that, but lately I have sort of a slight realignment to that idea. I think a lot of businesses, right? They will always say, oh, you need to know your target audience. You need to know your who you are selling to, right? Okay, and we always say that the worst kind of response you can get is, oh, I want to sell to everyone, right? But I have a slight realignment of my thinking with regards to that. I think, right, if your brand narrative is focused enough, is singular enough, right, you can actually skip defining your audience.
Come again?
If your narrative, if the focus of your brand, if the focus of your business is precise enough, is singular enough, okay, you can get away with not defining your target audience.
Well, you still define your target from another angle because your narrative already sort of bring the entire population to a certain catchment, to a certain area.
What I mean is your brand narrative, right, defines why you do certain thing, and by that extension, how you're doing it, and by that extension, what you are selling, which is a deliverable, right? My point being, when your narrative is so singularly focused and defined, you don't need to, the reason why you don't then need to go and you don't necessarily need to further define your target audience, or you can skip defining your target audience, is because there will always be people, right, who looks at your message and want to buy it, even though they are not your target audience. Simply because your message is singular enough.
Well, I look upon from an angle is okay, in a certain way, you don't exactly define your target audience, but from another angle, you already define your target audience, just that we don't exactly define your target audience from a hardcore manner. It is like what you mentioned, once your message is singular enough, defined enough, you will attract a certain particular group of consumer, and that probably
no. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. Why we talk about why marketers talk about defining your target audience, right? Because you want to speak the language of your audience, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If I'm targeting guys, I speak the guys' language. Okay, for example, if I target elderly, I speak the elderly language. So that's what we mean by targeting, defining your audience, right? The operational challenge is when you have multiple audience to target, you are by necessity creating multiple storylines, multiple content brackets, which also means additional production costs, additional distribution costs. All right.
Okay.
So that's and your advertising channels, your marketing channels all have to be either duplicate, or you have to have different sets for different customer segment, because that's how we have been taught, right? Traditional marketing, this is how you do customer segmentation. My point being, if your brand narrative is super singular, all you need to do is just push the brand narrative.
Okay.
Because your brand narrative is so singular, right? It's so singular, right? You can get away with not defining your audience because they will self-select themselves in all the various customer segments, in all the various little pockets of audience, right? You don't have to worry about, oh, am I speaking to the guys, or am I speaking to the young ones? Am I speaking to the adults? Am I speaking to the elderly? That's the traditional thinking of customer audience segmentation. But if your brand messaging, if your brand narrative is singular enough across the various multiple spectrum of customer segments, right? They will pull themselves, they will self-select themselves to buy into your brand narrative.
Well, okay, in that case, okay, well, to some extent, it probably works. Okay, like for example, maybe Apple. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I often I can't think of a very precise example, but yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, from this angle, yeah, probably yes to some brands. Okay. But I don't know how
okay, in fact, I would argue that most car brands, right, do that.
Actually, this okay. I can only relate to BM. Okay.
Yeah.
BM focus a lot on self-esteem. Okay. I mean, whether people can pick it up, I don't know, but I pick up. Okay. So it's about self-esteem, success. All these are elements or words or keywords that relate to the way they actually market BMs. And therefore, probably that can be one example. I don't know about other cars. Toyota, probably family, more related to family, but they do have a sport edition, okay, with Ralph. But for BM, it's very specialized. Yeah.
Yeah, BM is very individualistic. You know, it cuts across a lot whether you are a near retiring businessman or you are a young upstart, right? It really depends. If you buy into the individualistic messaging, right, you are more a BM person than a Mercedes person, for example.
Yeah. Right. So I can only speak for BM. Other than that, don't exactly. I mean, can't really exactly relate to other cars.
Yeah. So I think my argument on why there isn't a need for audience segmentation when your brand narrative is strong enough, right? Because when you do customer segmentation, right, what you're effectively doing is you're pandering to the crowd. That's what audience targeting is, isn't it? At the end of the day, why do you bother to segment your audience? You segment your audience because you want to customize the messaging, you want to craft the approach. I mean, 讲白了就是 you are pandering to the crowd 咯。You're pandering to that specific crowd lah, right?
Yeah.
But and again that like I said, it increases your creativity cost, it increases your production cost, increases your distribution cost, and all these related resources and attention. Whereas on the other hand, if your product, your brand position, your brand identity is very focused and very singular, and it cuts across, right? And it's very precise that once people see, people know, right? Then you realize that the audience pander to your brand.
Well, I can always say, I probably at this point of time, I probably agree that some brand can do it. Yeah. Other than that, right, yeah, like what you say, when resources are tight, right, it may not be feasible, right, to actually look at that so many things. Or prepared to handle so many things. Even though your messaging is very clear, but the thing is that are you prepared to handle so many things? Take for example, let's say I'm into the mothers and baby segment.
Yeah.
And let's say I just sell prem, focus on prem only.
Yeah.
Just one per item. I only sell prem. My business is all about selling prem.
Yeah.
By selling prem, right? Okay, I use keywords like safety, well, foldable, okay, easily, move around, okay, all that thing. It will cut across all the mothers, parents that require preps. Any children who are below from 0 all the way to maybe 5 years old, or yeah, maybe 5 to 6 years old, okay, cut across. So if I will ask myself, do I want to cater for so many different segments of parents? Okay, do I have the resources to manage? Then that will be a key consideration when I do that type of messaging approach. Else, if I only want to focus my attention to a particular segment of the mothers and babies, for the particular segment, then maybe I'll just want to actually drill to that and create a success story out of that particular segment itself. Talking about its language, talking about all these things. So at the end of the day, it all boils down to how much resources can you bear or allocate on the aftermath of your marketing campaign. Yeah, because BM can cater for senior executive, for normal business owner, small SME business owner, for senior, for maybe all different kind of people I would say. So therefore, with that, maybe it because of the resources, they can actually do that. But for SME, maybe they have to think twice whether can they handle the aftermath of the marketing message.
I realize why I have this thought. Because it's just like making a movie. When you make a movie, right, you don't necessarily know what is the audience you're targeting.
Actually, yes and no. Because my cousin is a movie maker. I actually did ask this type of question before.
Yeah, but it's a very broad. I mean, of course, if you are making a rom-com, I guess that's a very specific audience.
It really depends on what. At the end of the day, it's a message. The word is message. Okay, yeah. What is your movie you want to bring out? What is the story or the message you want to cut across you want to bring out to the audience? Okay, like for example, Jack Neo movie, right? Okay, all these very heartlander, grounded movies.
So I think Jack Neo movie.
Something
I think Jack Neo movie is promoting Singaporean idiocracy. That his movies are creatively barren. Okay, I mean, of course, you can applaud him for being he's a very commercially successful filmmaker. But let's not pretend that commercial success equals creative success. His films are creatively barren.
Okay.
You know, I'm very proud to say I've not watched Jack Neo movie for a good almost 20 years. Yeah.
Wow.
那种是 degrade 自己 intelligence 的，不要浪费时间。Seriously.
It's entertainment.
Oh, okay. Because you know why not? Jack Neo's movie, right? you just need to watch the very first one, Money Not Enough, right? You have literally watched all his other movies already because the format is the effing same. The plot line is the effing same. 换人换时间而已，就是这样而已，没有别的东西了。
Well, okay, you cannot fault him on that because okay, if you have a success formula, okay, and still continue to be a success formula, okay, I think people work on a success formula. You know what I mean? That's why probably brought you to the idea
but you see,
creative.
Again, like I said, commercial success is one thing, okay, but let's not kid ourselves. His things are creatively barren. So I fully agree that he deserves certain credit and recognition for being commercially successful. Obviously, he knows how to work the audience to earn his big bucks. Fine. But let's not pretend that it's anything creative. You know? Okay. And let's just acknowledge the fact that he has not improved himself creatively for the last 20 years. It's a totally different thing. Okay. You want to talk about progression, right? It's people like Steven Spielberg, commercially success, but also can do creatively, critically acclaimed movie. Jack Neo is not that kind. You get what I'm trying to say, no?
Okay.
Yeah.
But okay lah, we give it to him lah. Okay, let me see. Okay. I need to make a move. Okay.
Yeah.
So getting late. So let's stop for time being. Okay, then we continue next week. Okay, next week.
Okay, so moving forward, right? You need it to be at 8 p.m. or is it just today?
I think let's give us some time. Okay, 8 p.m. I think that's good.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, at least okay, not so rush. Okay, 7:30 can be a bit rush.
Yeah, I realize. Okay, cannot no problem. Then let's come back again next Thursday at 8 p.m.
Can, no problem.
Okay, bye.
Okay, can, see you.